Hello. So, I have now been on lockdown in a nursing home for a month. For this last month, until Monday or Tuesday, no one was wearing masks. No one was respecting distances even when they could. Um, Nobody was on the same page. Like, every single employee I talked to had a different story about what the rules were, what the regulations were, what they were supposed to be doing. They've told me that the only way they screen them to find out whether or not they're safe to let in the building is to take their temperature with often broken thermometers and ask them questions about some symptoms. Does not include all symptoms. And they can come and go. They can go work at other facilities and come back here. Who knows what they do when they leave here? And none of us are being tested, except one person who people thought might have it. But after what I've seen, keeping up with all of this, reading about what happens in nursing homes when it gets in, it's terrifying. And at this point, if something gets in, it's straight from the staff, because we've been in quarantine so long that we couldn't have brought it back in. Nobody else visiting us could have brought it to us. We would have been sick or something by now. It would have swept through this place like wildfire, because it's full of at-risk people. 140 people live here, and I would say there's probably at least another 50 employees, probably more, but at any one time in the building. And it's a lot of people. And over the last month, I've been talking to CNAs that have said, there's just not enough masks, there's not enough information. Some have told me things that they heard about on Facebook, believing that was the truth about the virus and how it spread. There was no education, it seemed, by the administrative staff or the CDC for these facilities on what they could best do to protect us. It's been really scary. I've been scared living in a nursing home for the last year, but now I'm terrified, because my chances of getting it in this place are pretty high. And I live in a state where there's no stay inside order. Some places are respecting it, like the suggestion, and some places aren't. Some people, it seems often religious people, aren't listening. They just think it's in God's hands, and they're not taking responsibility at all, and they are endangering us all. As much as I do want somebody to visit me, I wouldn't want to endanger all the people here. Any of the employees, the healthcare workers. Well, maybe one, but no, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't want to bring that into a place like this. I would never forgive myself. And I can't understand people who run around acting like it's no big deal that you could kill people by being selfish and greedy and ignorant. Super freaking ignorant. Like, I've seen some really ugly things in these nursing homes, and these places are terrifying to live in day to day. You never know how long you're going to wait for someone to answer your call light, or what you might get in your pill cup, or what new fresh hell is going to come out of the kitchen, or if you're going to get that thing you were promised, if the social worker is really going to come back in, and so on. When you add this virus, this pandemic, into a place where, the first outbreak in the country was in a nursing home, because they're so vulnerable, you take all that shit and it's like adding a 500-pound weight, to an already weighted down system. And it's funny because most people that are worried about this virus and are upset about it are upset and worried because they are having to live life in a way that they have never had to live before. And they've lost their jobs, they're really worried about money. And they're acting like it's the absolute end of the world. And I look at them and I think, dude, welcome to my world. Like, I can't go outside. Not easily. Not by myself. I can't do many of the things that everybody is missing right now without significant help. And I'm always concerned about my health and worried about what might happen to hurt me and make things worse or kill me. And I've always known what it's like to be economically unstable, because as a disabled person, unable to hold and act like a traditional job, I never know how or where or when I'm going to have the money to get what I need. I have gone untold years without things that I needed because I didn't have the money. And even briefly, when I did have some money, I was so stuck in a role of scarcity that I couldn't even enjoy it. So when people complain, I understand. It's scary. You've never done this before. You've never felt this way before. But please consider the fact that is a very privileged place to be coming from, that you don't know what these things are like already. It is privilege. And we don't all have that privilege. Some of us know what a whole lot of this is and are intimately acquainted with it and live our lives like this because we don't have choice, because we are disabled, because we are chronically ill. And I am partly glad that people are experiencing this and getting this taste of what it's like to be somebody like me, a small taste, because it's missing all the disability and chronic illness. It's just the symptoms. It's not the cause. Touch my face. And I just